Welcome. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at editing the quote letter in our PrintVis Business Central system and what it takes in order to customize the quote letter to fit your organization. To begin with, we're going to search for Merge Fields and select PrintVis Merge Fields group from our menu list. The merge fields are used for building a variety of different reports or documents that come out of our PrintVis system. In this case, we're going to be building the one for our quote letter or taking a look at the one for our quote letter. We have one pre-built in our system called Quote One, so we'll start by taking a look at that from any number of tables that are available in this system. If we'd like to pull in information from the case, we can. And then we can pull in any number of other information, quote date. And so there's our quote date field. We can specify the text. If we look at our information, we can see dates that we can use or any other information that we can use. The text can be pulled in to use so we can specify certain titles for it, such as, and then use our standard placeholders to specify what will be in there. We can specify the field type, whether it's a text, a date, a space, as well as any additional formulas that we'd like to include. So you could create a field called text date or a due date and specify a formula to calculate a due date for the customer's response to that. These can be created as many as you want, and you can have as many fields in this table as you'd like. However, the more you have, the longer and harder it can become and more convoluted it can become to build out your quote. Once you have the fields available that you'd like, you can then go and edit your quote letter. If you need help with this or creating any formulas or have questions about the formulas, please reach out to your PrintVis partner. Once we have our merge fields created, we search for document setup. And we select PrintVis document setup. This specifies the type of documents we have available in our system. We can have several different types, whether it's quote, whether it's a shipping document or an invoice document or labels or anything like that. In this case, we're going to take a look at our quote letter. So I'll click on quote, and that will open up the information page for our quote. On here, we have several fields, such as the code, the text for that, if I have a document title or document topic, the type of document that it is. Generally, you're going to choose MS Word. This will open our document in Word for editing. The program editor, if it's a different type of program, the application when it is pulled up. So if this is a delivery note, like a packing slip, or an order confirmation letter that we're sending out. In this case, this is a quote, so we're selecting quote. An order number, if this was for a specific order number, in this case, we'll leave it blank. If we'd like to have a specific group set up, we can. And we can group this so that it can be assigned to specific customers, so that if you have a group of customers that would like a quote letter in a specific format, or your format for a different country, for instance, are formatted differently, you can change those quote letters so that they match your group. And then whether or not this quote letter is blocked or can be used. If you have it marked as blocked, it will block that setup from being used on quote letters. And then whether or not we can mail this as a PDF. If this button is checked, we will have the ability to send mail as a PDF, and it will attach it as a PDF document to your email. From here, we can add additional fields as well that would show up on our quote letter. We also have the ability under the document folders to specify where these documents are output. When you generate a quote letter in the system, it not only creates one locally, but it saves it to the path that you have specified so that it's there for historical purposes. This enables us to go in and create a quote letter. If the customer comes back and wants a new quote for a different amount or some slight changes to the quote, we can make those changes, generate a new quote letter, and that new quote letter is saved as well. So you have that historical versioning of the quotes saved in the folder under quote. If we have our CRM set up, our CRM link set up, we can assign it to a specific CRM grouping or folder group as well. And then we can determine how the name for the document is built. In this case, it's built with the document quote number. To export our template so that we can edit it, we can click Export Template. This allows us to generate a quote letter template that we can open in Word. When we open this locally in Word on our local machine to edit, we are prompted to enable editing. That's a Word default. You download a file and it's going to open it so that it can't run any malicious things. To enable editing, you simply enable edit. And here we are. You'll notice that I do not see any of my fields that I can edit. So to do that, we have to enable the developer mode in our Word product. In order to do that, we click File and Options. Once our options appear, we go to Customize Ribbon, and under Main tabs, we check the box for Developer. This adds a new field of things to our ribbon, most of which we won't use, but we will use some of it, such as if we click on Developer and then XML Mapping pane, we can then select our quote. And now we have access to all of the merge fields that we created in our system. So we can add these to our quote in any order that we'd like. If we'd like to edit our template, we can double click in the template field and make any changes that we'd like to the header and footer. Some of the other things you can do any of the editing in Word that you can do otherwise, so we can make things bold. If we want to change the document attention and make that bold, we can. So now it will be bolded. We can move things around on the layout as well. One of the nice features that we can do if we want to hide a feature is we simply, in our edit, we can click that and click Properties. Once we have properties come up, if we have a tag field, we can put in a open bracket, DR, closed bracket. And what that'll do is that tells the system that if there's nothing in that field, it will actually hide that row in our table. If we're using if this is an item in a table, such as here we have a table, see our table, we can select that and put in open bracket, DR, closed bracket. And now if we do not have a job description, it will hide that row in our table. If we put something such as down here under salesperson email, there's no table, but we can do open bracket, DP, closed bracket, that will hide the paragraph in the case that that field is empty. So if there's no salesperson email set up in my system, it will hide that line. So we can control the visible lines in our system as well. Once this document is saved, if we're happy with it, we can hit the Save button and we close that down. Now we go to Import Template. It's going to tell me that there's already an attachment present and ask me if I'm sure that I want to import a new one. In this case, I do because I've updated our default quote template. So I'll click yes. I will browse to my quote letter and I'll upload my quote letter. Now, if I go to generate a quote letter, it will have that new quote. And in just a minute, we'll do that. One of the other options here, if I make any changes, I can update all the documents and move any of the files. I can clear out the template, which removes everything in the template, and I can back up my templates. This allows me to save a backup of the template. For instance, if I'm going to make a change to it, I can save a backup file to my disk, and now I have a local copy before I go in and make any changes. I'm also able to revert back to other versions if I want to revert back to the template previous. So to view that new template really quick, we'll go to case management and we'll take a look at a quote. Now if you make a change to a template, you will have to generate a new quote letter. If you had already generated one, it will not change existing quote letters. We'll open this locally in our Word. You can open it in the web browser. However, it does not always display properly if it's in the web browser. So I like to generally open it in my local software. So you can see there where I had attention bolded, it made that bold, and there's the line that we added, thank you for being a friend. Now, if I close this to show you how the revert works, if I go back to my document setup, and I view my backup templates, if I select my previous one and revert to this version, It also gives you the option to remove the newer one. So now I'm back to my previous one. I'll come in here and I will create a new quote. And when it opens, we can see that my quote letter is back to the way it was. Attention is no longer bolded. And thank you for being a friend has been removed from my quote letter. If you have any questions about editing the quote template or merge fields, please reach out to your PrintVis partner.